Alright, let's get right into it. If you're gearing up for CUET accountancy, you know this feeling, right? It's 2 in the morning, you're staring at some super complex share forfeiture problem, or maybe you're totally lost between the sacrificing ratio and the gaining ratio. You're putting in the hours for sure. But are you really working smart? Let's break down how to get that crucial application edge for 2026. And this right here is the stark reality of the CUET exam. It's not just about knowing the theory, it's about applying it perfectly when the pressure is on. It doesn't matter if it's a case study, a sequence question, or a journal entry. Every single calculation counts. One tiny slip up and you don't just miss out on a mark, you actively lose one. The stakes are just incredibly high. Look, we know you're already working hard. You've got your NCERT books, your coaching material, your school notes, the whole shebang. But just working hard with everything scattered all over the place can honestly just lead to burnout. The secret isn't to work more, it's to make all your current effort work smarter. A structured, data driven approach is like a force multiplier. It takes all your hard work and turns it into laser focused, effective preparation. So let's be really clear about the challenge ahead. The City Accountancy exam in 2026 is specifically designed to test how well you can apply concepts, not just remember them. Rote learning definitions and formats just isn't going to cut it. When you're hit with a complicated case study that has a bunch of twists, you have to think like an actual accountant. And that means you need to understand the why behind every single entry. Now, what's really fascinating about this exam is its structure. A massive chunk of your paper is going to come from just three critical units. First up, you've got company accounts. That's where all those tricky share forfeiture and reissue problems are hiding. Then you have financial statement analysis. Think of that maze of ratios and cash flow statements. And finally, there are the super detailed nuances of partnership reconstitution, which covers things like goodwill and profit sharing ratios. Okay, so let's zoom in on what might be the most feared topic of all share forfeiture. This is where application is literally everything. It's this multi step process where one tiny error right at the beginning can cascade down and make your entire answer completely wrong. So, how do we get from being totally confused to feeling completely confident? Let's break down one of the core parts, the reissue entry. On the surface, it seems simple enough, right? Step 1, you debit the bank account with whatever amount you received. Step 2, you debit the share forfeiture account for the discount on that reissue. And step 3, you credit the share capital account. It's a pretty logical flow. But here's the real question. Do you know exactly where you're most likely to trip up? Is it when you're calculating the amount for the share forfeiture account? Or maybe you're getting tangled up in the share capital calculation, especially when pro rata allotments are involved? You know, just guessing where you're weak is not a strategy. And this is exactly where modern study tools can totally change the game. A diagnostic tool like a gap fixer can pinpoint your exact weakness. So after you try a bunch of problems, it won't just give you a vague your weakened company accounts. No, it'll tell you that your specific error is in calculating the capital reserve after reissue because you consistently mess up the pro rata forfeited amount. It completely stops the guesswork and lets you target your revision with absolute precision. Alright, let's switch gears to the next high weightage area, financial statement analysis. The challenge here is really twofold. You have to be super accurate with your formulas and how you classify things, but you also have to be incredibly fast. That clock is always ticking in the exam hall. You know, a classic application question is all about ratio classification. They won't just ask you to calculate a ratio, they'll ask you to identify which category it belongs to. Do you just instinctively know that inventory turnover is an activity ratio? Measuring efficiency, while debt to equity is a solvency ratio which measures long term stability. That kind of quick recall is absolutely essential. So you got to ask yourself, honestly, under the stress of a timer, do you ever get these things mixed up? Does your accuracy just take a nosedive when you try to speed up? Because speed without accuracy is just reckless. But accuracy without speed, while you're just not going to finish the paper, you need both. This is where you need targeted timed practice to build that crucial exam. Muscle memory. With a tool like Pace, you can run these really specific drills. I mean, imagine doing 5-minute sprints where you only classify ratios into activity versus solvency, or 3-minute challenges to solve just the reissue entry part of a forfeiture problem. These focused drills train your brain to perform accurately under pressure, building up the stamina you're going to need on exam day. Alright, on to our third core area, partnership reconstitution. This unit is all about the little details. The difference between an adjustment for goodwill and an adjustment for a change in the profit sharing ratio can seem pretty subtle. But trust me, getting it wrong has major consequences for your final answer. You can really see the difference laid out here. Calculating goodwill is all about putting a value on the firm's reputation using methods like average or super profit. On the other hand, adjusting for a PSR change is all about reallocating future profits among the partners, which means you have to calculate the sacrificing and gaining ratios. See, two totally different goals, two totally different methods. Understanding that distinction is key. Now, trying to tackle all these complex topics means you're going to need a really robust support system. I mean, what happens when you hit a wall at midnight? You can't always wait for your next class. You need clarity and you need it right now. This is where having an AI-powered study assistant, let's call him Tony, can be a huge help. Let's say you're stuck on that classic adjustment calculating a manager's commission on profit. After charging that commission, instead of getting all frustrated, you can just ask your AI buddy and boom, it'll give you an instant step-by-step explanation, breaking down the logic of why the formula is right over 100 plus rate. That way you actually understand the concept. You're not just memorizing a formula. And for those really deep dives, there's the idea of a curated library like an ETL library. But here's the philosophy: you have to understand your NCRD and your coaching notes are your foundation. They are enough. This library isn't meant to replace them or just overload you with more stuff. It's a precision tool for students, even if you're at the best coaching centers, to use when you need extra clarity on a very specific topic, like pro rata allotment. It's targeted support, not just more content to drown in. So here's the bottom line. All of the smart practice, diagnosis, and support has just one goal: to translate all your effort into real, measurable performance on exam day. It's about building a clear path from where you are right now to where you need to be. And the data really shows that this approach works. With instant support systems, students are resolving their doubts 3 times faster. Just think about that. That means way less time being stuck and way more time moving forward, covering more ground effectively. And even more importantly, there's a 40% average improvement in accuracy on those really tough application-based case studies. This is a massive leap, and it directly targets the highest value questions you're going to see on the exam. This whole process just eliminates the guesswork from your preparation. No more vague feelings like, I think I'm pretty good at ratios. The analytics dashboard shows you the cold hard data. You can actually see that you're 92% strong in solvency ratios, but you're sacrificing ratio calculations. Could use a few more practice sets. You always know what your next strategic move should be. And then finally, you step into the exam room. Here you can take AI simulated mock tests that perfectly mirror the actual CSET weightage and interface. You'll face questions from previous years and build up the stamina and confidence you need for the real deal. You end up walking into your actual exam feeling like you've already been there before. So just remember, this isn't about adding more hours to your already packed schedule. It's about making every single hour you study more productive. It's about amplifying the hard work you're already putting in with a smart strategic methodology. The question then is a pretty simple one. Are you ready to shift your preparation from being stressful and kind of all over the place to being strategic and confident? The choice to work smarter? Well, that's yours.